Little with yourselves.
My name is Nicholas Adongo. I'm a film director based in Kisumu.
My name is Joyce Ndiegu Arigi, a filmmaker based in Nairobi and operates mostly in Kisumu.
Karibuni sana. You can begin your pitch.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. We thought of an idea and came up with a TV series known as Tanga. Tanga comes from the Luo community to mean Tanga. That is how the Luo people call it. So we thought it's good to be a family show, and it will be taking 25 minutes per episode. Now, our thoughts, we borrowed them from the Luo community who have an idea of Luo folklore such as Nyamgodo and Simbi Nyaima. It gave us motivation to talk about something which we gave it a tagline known as Tundu Nyavuni. Our logline are: in quest of looking for peace, a lady known as Adongo quits her nursing job, who is determined, returns back to her village Tanga to find a strange disease has hit her people in the midst of a political tension. She tries to change the status quo, but has to challenge herself with tradition and outdated religious practices. Now, the synopsis of this: Adongo is an intelligent young lady who is determined and comes from humble beginnings, but she drops her nursing job in a neighboring county to come back to her village Tanga so that she can get peace. But on arrival, she finds that there is political tension, and then there's a strange disease that has just infected the community. When she tries to change the status quo, Adongo faces challenges from the beach community, which comes from the beach chairperson, and also the wife of the beach chairperson known as Amilo, who will not allow Adongo to move with her plans. But she does not give up. She moves on and on to achieve what she wants as one person of this village.
Adongo is a woman, and we have different themes that we want to handle in the story Tanga. First of all, Tanga alone is broad to us, because Tanga, we've called it the setting where we want to do all this. So the series will tackle more of political empowerment for the people. It will tackle cohesion. It will tackle family issues and family values. We are going to tackle tribal issues, love and romance, but looking at it at a girl's eye perspective.
We also have characters like Bob, who is the beach chairperson. The beach is always having a setup similar like the national setup, where they have people leading them. This is the main challenger of Adongo. We have characters like Omondi, who is Adongo's father. We also have characters like Akoko, who is Adongo's mother. We also have characters like Amilo, who is the wife to the beach chairperson, who is Bob. And we have Tony, who is a twin brother to Adongo. Now, the few crew, just to sum up a few crew that will be part of this, we will have Joyce here as the producer. I'll be the director of the program. And we also have Victor Smicer, who will be the DOP. Just to take you through the look, basically the look book of, just take it back, on how the whole setup will look like. If you look through, you will get aesthetics of how the whole community looks like and how they do various things. Now, the tone will be nostalgic, and also we will try to vary it, to contrast it in various episodes. The music, we will use music from the Luo community, but infuse it with modernity so that it can bring freshness when we are doing music for the program. The budget for a whole season will only need 5.8 million to produce a whole 13 episodes of a season, or 450,000 per episode.
I wish to ask, you need 5.8 million to be able to shoot the whole thing. How are you going to, do you have any other source of finances other than that?
We created a team that understands our journey and our vision towards what we are doing. So it was a bit easy on us. Still, we are going to to self-fund it, because it is a dream we have a story to tell, and we want a story that can travel all over. So with or without funding, we have a team that is willing to go with us all through.
How are you intending to make your narrative appeal to a wider audience?
Tanga is just a representation of a country, shooting in Luo and Kiswahili and blending English, but definitely with subtitles so that we can reach a wider audience. But the themes that are in Tanga relate to each and everyone around.
How are you able to reach out? Because filmmaking, television production is a collaborative affair, and you want to believe that you should be having some other collaborators to be able to assist you to be able to sustain, the season. We are very much afraid that if you are given an opportunity, say season 4, season 5, you fall down the line. How are you then able to reach out for a wider collaborative affair?
Even right now, in collaboration, we are collaborating to people far in Mombasa, because one of the script writers comes from Mombasa, and also we are collaborating with people from Nairobi and far wide in Migori. So having all these people on board, they bring in different ideas to help us move. We are afraid to move as an individual, but the team have different ideas from different angles of the country just to help us move as a story.
Good afternoon. My name is Lawrence Murage. I'm a writer, director. The writer and director Antibos, writer Njoro wa Uba, Vashita, Ngazi, and a few other TV series. I've done a number of short films, and I'm working on my first feature film.
My name is Lucy Mwangi. I'm a producer. Some of the shows that we've done I'm the producer and the brains behind Anti-Boss. We are currently doing Njoro wa Uba, and we've also produced Vashita, all which are on Maisha Magic.
Tash Natosh is a legal comedy drama that explores the lives of two lawyer friends who are out to make a name for themselves. It's in Swahili with a little bit of English. The running time is 26 minutes. We're looking at 13 episodes per season. The show focuses on these two lawyer friends who went to law school together, did pupillage, got admitted together, and even got the chance to work in a firm together. Their dream was to be real lawyers, represent clients, and do what lawyers do. But they were reduced to carrying briefcases and making coffees for their bosses. And we meet them in town, and they get to this incident by fluke and decide to jump on it and launch their careers. And that's when they form their outfit, Tash Natosh Advocates. Well, the show is grounded on friendship and deliberate decisions by Tash Natosh. It is character-driven and mainly deals with the Tash versus Tosh versus client versus antagonistic or the antagonistic force conflict. It uses real court cases and seeks to evoke emotions, inform, entertain, and spark conversations. So, who are Tash Natosh? Timothy Tash Mitambo, main character, 33 years. He's charming, charismatic, jumpy, easygoing, but clumsy. He's always joking, usually unethical when researching and preparing for a case, and uses an unconventional way of argument in court. Tosh, Anthony Tosh Juma, polished, organized, smart, honest, but uptight. In Mtaani language, we'd call him a mtiaji. So in the course, he's always prepared, argues professionally using jargons, and rarely loses. He knows his stuff. As I said, the show is grounded on friendship. And when they form their outfit, if we go to their website, this is what it would look like. We're specializing in provision of services to individuals and corporates in all aspects of commercial law. They're a medium-sized firm with whom clients can deal on terms of familiarity and trust. Practice area litigation and ADR, intellectual property and ICT, corporate and commercial law, entertainment law, property law, family law, and consultancy. Sample episodes. We have the first episode where they bump on a case. The second episode where thinking because they won a case, they will get another one. So they wait, but they don't get a show. They don't get a case and go ambulance chasing. They get this wrongful termination case. We have a corporate infringement case. Entertainment, we are all in the entertainment industry. Stolen at birth, the case of babies disappearing in hospitals. Blessed Rasta, the case of a student being denied education because of their religion. Back to basic, We have this episode where the character is reminded of where they came from when they have to represent someone they grew up with, CCTV, another termination, a house help, a CCTV, and lies. I am dead. You wake up in the morning, find yourself in an obituary, and you have these guys represent you in court against the media. We are looking at 4 seasons for the first phase. The first season basically is the introduction of the characters, their world, and their setup. They're struggling. Their office is in their house. In season 2, they have touched money. They set up an office in the city. In season 3, they expand the farm. They have associates. They have new lawyers who they are mentoring, and they're representing VIPs. In season 4, we lead up to their breakup. I mean, every relationship has a breakup. The gates. The world. This is our world. It's lively, it's airy, it's in the courts, it's in the city. It's, well, what Lucy would call a portrait of Nairobi. The locations, we have the man cave where they live. We have the courtrooms, represents all the courtrooms in the country, the magistrates' courts, the high courts, court of appeal, Supreme Court, you name it. The city. This is where the action is at. Everywhere, I mean, where the cases are, in rich places, in slums, in cars, entertainment joints, everywhere. The format, Lucy will take over from here.
Okay, so in less than 2 minutes, the format of the show is very simple. It's 26 minutes. The first part of the show introduces our case. We get to meet our client for the day. And then the midpoint of the show is our 2 lawyers going through the documents, basically doing the background checks and preparing for the case. And then we find them in court if the case does happen to end up in court. And then at the very end, we get the verdict. So it's basically your courtroom drama, but it's a comedy. I mean, there's elements of comedy. And then when it comes to the creative team, we have a team that has worked on a lot of if we may say so, some award-winning productions. We have a creative team that is behind the project, and their names are there, people who hold weight in whatever fields that they do. And then why we felt the show was important. I think most of us have grown up with Vioja Mahakamani, one of the longest running courtroom dramas in the country. It was popular when we were growing up, and I think to those who are watching the reruns, they still find something interesting about this show. Why we decided to do this is because I think there's room for a courtroom drama. One, in addition to just pure entertainment, to give the human face when it comes to the legal profession, which for most of us, it's a field that is shrouded in mystery, and then humanize and give law sort of like a human face. When we walked in, we had to sign a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA. That's a legal document. So for all of us in our day-to-day, at some point we will get to interact with something legal. So for us, we are looking at Tash and Tosh as a legal drama. For a good drama, what we need is strong characters and conflict.
Okay, thank you. Your
Yeah.
time is up. Thank you very much. We'll have the jury ask you questions. Anybody with a question? So Sarah can start.
So my question is on the budget. What will the 500,000 bob do for you? Will there be an end product with the 500,000?
So our budget for the pilot is 627,000, which is likely what is being offered. But what we have done is we have a lot of goodwill from crew and cast and companies that we've worked with previously. So in terms of equipment, the 500,000 is not taking care of that, because then the budget would have been ridiculously high. So what the 500,000 will do is allow for us to put together a 26-minute pilot. It will give us money to have our expendables taken care of, in a sense, but we are not looking at paying the crew, paying the cast. It's basically to ensure that we get a pilot and we get a 26-minute show that is a final product. The challenge we've had is, as we've tried to pitch this show to different outlets, it's very hard to sell an idea on paper. So we are looking at the 500,000 as something that will allow us to have something visual, so that when we start knocking doors again, we are showing something that is tangible.
Wycliffe?
Now, we've had a long history in Kenya in terms of courtroom drama. You have mentioned to us about Vioja Mahakamani. We also have Mashitaka. And you do know that most of the lay audience do take what they see on screen to be gospel truth. I want to believe that your courtroom drama will be doing entertainment, that is entertainment with value addition. Are you prepared to be able to do a lot of research in terms of the legal industry in Kenya to understand specific aspects of law, so that as much as you're going to give us drama, you are also going to educate us in specific aspects of legal practice in Kenya, so as not to make drama that will, of course, be taken to be gospel truth, but with blunders?
Okay, I'll take that. So Lawrence, the show creator, has worked in a law firm in a creative aspect. That is where he got the idea for the show. The first part of our budget, actually, I think the third line item is legal consultant. We are not experts in law. We are producers. So definitely for the show to have any level of credibility, we need to have people who understand how the system works, who understand the legal field, and that is on the actual budget, that's actually, I think 20% of the budget is going to legal research and having legal minds that will help us in terms of the scripting and coming up with all these ideas. Yes, so we will not be cooking up, verdict.
Yeah, and that means that we have the advocates when making the story and after writing the scripts, for them to go through the scripts and advise on where the writers went wrong.
I have a question in regards to the kind of comedy that you will have in your show. We've tended to have a lot of slapstick comedy with a lot of the TV shows we see. You specifically mentioned Vioja, which I believe set the precedent for a lot of our comedy to be very slapstick oriented. What is going to be unique about your show as far as the comedy is concerned in comparison to other shows that we have on TV?
Okay. I think with the team that we had said we'll be working with, we've been able to work on different genres. We've done dramas, we've done comedy that is slapstick, and our regular comedy shows. What we've come to understand is what message are we trying to pass. Tash and Tosh is a comedy legal drama. There'll be moments of humor, but our focus is on the drama and understanding the legal sort of landscape that we find ourselves in. I think it's finding a balance, and allow me to use an example of a show we've done. One of the shows that we are currently doing is called Njorwa Uba. It's comedy, but we are not constantly looking for ha ha ha. It's a show that is telling real life situations that your normal Nairobian will find themselves in. We're interacting with passengers, we're interacting with regular Kenyans, a hawker. So, and there's always a message behind the show. So our aim is not purely to get laughter. It will be a good addition. But for us, it's basically the drama in the courtroom, definitely with a bit of embellishment, because I don't believe the courtroom is as exciting as we hope to portray. But there's a message and there's a purpose to why we are doing each and every episode.
Okay, thank you. Fred?
All right, must congratulate you on that idea. It's unique. My question then goes to your audience. Who are you targeting, and what do you have in mind for them? As in, when I watch this Tash and Tosh, what is my experience week in, week out as an audience?
Well, personally, I love drama shows, and I love them kutoka kitambo, like from the age of 21. So my target audience would be from 21 years old all the way to 40-something, 50-something, to old people who will understand the law and who will enjoying being in this space in the courtroom and getting the insight of what really happens in those rooms. Yeah.
Can I just add briefly to that? Most of our cases or the issues that we'll address are what we are calling ripped off the headlines. So we look at the current or the recent issues that are happening in the newspaper. Yesterday, the front page had the story of a billionaire who's having an issue with the courts and the government. Like 2 weeks ago, we had the case of a Was it a woman who had been in the mortuary for over 25 years because of a legal issue? So all these issues that you are finding in the newspaper, they're in the in the social contemporary space that is Kenya right now. I mean, when you see a case like that, you're curious. What is it that could have made a woman be in a mortuary for this long? So these are the cases that we are hoping to address. They are human interest stories. And every week as a viewer, you have no idea what case you are going to tackle. So fingers crossed, you'll be waiting for the next episode and the next episode. 1, because you hope to be entertained. And 2, you hope to get some answers. And 3, also because you are hoping to learn something from the cases that you are presenting.
Okay, thank you very much. Your time is up. We have enjoyed your pitch, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you for the time.
Okay, maybe a brief about The Nest. The title The Nest was formed when we were coming up with this idea. The overbearing thought was, what is the one thing that will make somebody think about nurturing? So after going through the names, The Nest is the one that popped up very well. If you're thinking about the nest, the bird's nest is where the bird will tender for its young ones before they leave out to go and venture into the world. And it makes sure that it weaves the nest well. Make sure that when it's the nest is hanging, when it's hanging, even if it's in a tree or on a building, it's well. It's well. It's very comfortable for the young ones, and it makes sure that every single time it comes the food for the kids, and that's why we chose the title The Nest.
So the program is tailored for soon-to-be mothers and first-time mothers, the first in Kenya, and the program is ideally to seek and explore for motherhood through a series of conversation and through contraception, prenatal and postnatal care with testimonials and expert advices.
And to further explain to you what the nest how it looks like, I would like them to play a short video.
The best parent you can be is to lead by example.
You think your child is next. Have you ever prayed?
Whether by chance.
You know, we have those trackers.
Yes.
Then you wake up, you're late day one.
Yeah. By choice.
Instead of going to seek, to seek from expert, I could reason to people.
Or by accident.
My body flushed out everything after a couple of hours.
We all have a story to tell. You and I will get through this together.
However difficult, painful, and traumatic it will be.
On The Nest every Tuesday from 8 to 9 p.m. With me, Maureen Waititu.
Thank you. As you can see, we only talk about motherhood and parenthood and everything that goes in between. Our target audience for us is 18 to 35 years old who live in urban or peri-urban or rural areas.
Hi, is this an existing show?
Yeah, it's already on my 254 TV.
Hi. My question then goes to most of the talk shows that we see, yes, they have the content, but then they tend to, unless you're really interested in the subject matter, you might get lost in the way. How do you make it interesting to the viewer and your target audience?
First of all, we do extreme research on our guests that we bring. We make sure that any person who is coming has understanding of the subject matter and has a very good story to tell that can be able to encompass everything. For example, if you are taking somebody who has undergone miscarriage, it's good if they can be able to tell that story to completion, be able to explain what they felt went wrong. We also have a medical doctor or a psychologist, depending on where we want to touch. If it's about the mental health of the person after a miscarriage, or if it's about preventing and looking at various factors that might have led to the miscarriage. That's just for an example.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Who is stealing our children and where do they take them? That was a cry of a woman recently on the Standard newspaper. And cases of children being stories are not new to us. Recent studies show about 700 kids are stolen every year in Nairobi. Some go unreported. And I'll tell you a personal story about that. Back in 1998, my mom gave birth to my younger sister. And while she was in the ward, two random women walked in, pretended to be friends, wanted to hang with her and help her through that first moments. And my mom was kind enough to let them hold my sister. In that moment, my mom wanted to go out and help herself in the washrooms. And when she walked out, the women took my sister, and as they were about to walk out, a photographer walked in. Back in the 90s, photographers used to walk in wards, take pictures of women, and that photographer is the person who helped our family save my sister from being stolen. My name is Njue Kevin. I'm from a company called Rock Pictures. The genre of the show will be drama, but I like to call it mystery. It's a mystery drama because it's the kids embarking on a journey to find their true origins.
Thank you very much for picking on an area that most producers, our local producers, have not been able to venture so much in. Adaptation of novel to motions. And of course, as you mentioned earlier, it's very difficult. Most people are unable. And anybody who has read any novel will want to see much more in the motions. And of course, motions becomes very difficult in terms of enactment. What are you planning to make sure that anybody who may have read the novel will find it more interesting in the motions?
Thank you very much for your question and acknowledging that. Book adaptations are a trend right now. Recently, Nigeria had a big Netflix deal of adapting two of their most famous books to TV series. So this is something that's happening. Hollywood, all countries, England, they're all doing this. So one of the things we are going to ensure, and this comes from our team, and we have experience with that, is one, my first short film called Intellectual Scam was adapted from an article. So we adapted the article, we made the short film, went to over 20 international film festivals, so I consider that was a success.
Congratulations, Kevin, on your pitch, and I wish you all the best.
You should, at the bare minimum, consider yourself winners because you came from a large number of pitches and you were narrowed down to 6.
In any competition, ladies and gentlemen, fellow content developers, there must be a winner. You have been winners out of the 57, but then we want to move to the very, very, very best of them all.
I would like to congratulate all of you for getting this far. We really enjoyed and were fascinated by the diversity of concepts that were presented to us. And the winner is Kutoka Chini.
The jury for the documentary category are Isabel Maina, Ladislaus Regis Ondieki, and Victor Ouma.
The quest is a story that tackles a very common motif. It tackles a topic of FGM. And you might ask yourselves, why FGM? Yet we have seen movies about FGM, we have seen content about FGM. There are two things. It's highly unadvised, but it's not prohibited.
Are you sure? I'd like you to go back to your books and do your research well and look at the Kenya laws of Kenya number 32 of 2011.
Today we are going to present a project called Gary. It's a feature film. It's a new project. It's a very experimental project. It's an Afro-futurism thriller, drama, and action film about a taxi driver who finds a corpse inside his trunk and then receives a call demanding him to deliver the body to a given destination at a particular time. If he doesn't do so, he will lose his daughter. So the story starts when Mal, as he waits for a customer, he receives a call asking about a suitcase left behind in his car trunk. He goes to check it out and finds a body of a dead man. He's asked to take the suitcase to a given destination without involving the authorities. If he was to contact the police, a video fabricated by the caller showing him poisoning the man will be sent to the authorities and he will be jailed for murder and he will never see his daughter again. So what is it about this villain? Why is she doing this? The villain's name is Neema. She lost her husband from a toxic poisoning that led to lead poisoning inside his body and died because of a stroke. And she is also struggling with lung cancer caused by the same toxic materials. So now, since she did not get any justice from the company, and through corruption, those companies were able to move away from that case, now she's hunting down all those people who did that to her before she dies in the next 6 months. So we have characters, I don't know if you are going to see. We have these characters called Neema. She lost her husband, and in this film, she's also going to lose something at the end. So every character in this film loses something.
This is a very important and powerful story that touches on regular people, on issues of environment, on issues of choice, on issues of sexual abuse, on issues of corruption. And so far, we've worked so hard to bring partners on board. We already have audio partners, we already have editing partners, Quad A, Dolby. We already have partners that will give us equipment. And what we are here for is to ask for your support with the 500,000 so that we can actually go ahead and secure locations, do casting, and have money to pay our actors and sort of like actually produce the story. We're hoping with the 5,000 we can be able to actually go and shoot a trailer or have something that is more visual.
We already have secured partners. We have Dolby, who are working with us. We have Quad A, who are going to do the sound mix for us from Uganda. So we are doing the film and delivering it in 5.1 and Atmos. And for other local medias, we are going to deliver it in stereo. And then for picture quality, we are going to shoot it in 4K so that then it can be available wild stream worldwide. Because the feature film, it has a large market for. It has a large market. That's what I heard. Yeah.
Do you have like specific timelines?
We have already started pre-production. That is the project development. I don't know if they can show this over there on the screen. We have already started storyboarding for the film. There is storyboarding. We have already started storyboarding for the film. We have already started looking at what kind of sounds that we want in the film. We have already scripted like what sound we need in the film, what kind of music we need, how do we connect our viewers with that, with the music that we want to tell the story here. We are also looked at some locations which we are going to use because now the film is more about environment conservation. And also we have a plane which will act as our club. It's Club 0035 in Ngong. So what we are doing with that is that the planes at that time, because this is an Afro-future, the plane at that time, they are not diesel propelled, they're electric propelled. So those which were diesel propelled, they were taken down, decommissioned, and now people are using them as hotels and as clubs. So we have those locations and those sets.
What is the budget? How much money are you looking for?
The budget is about 6.7 million. I know that's a large number, but we have already partners in the film. And for us, we also have the equipment. We have cameras, we have the lights, we have the sound. The only money that we're looking for
And will 500,000 be enough?
It will be enough to get us to production, to get us to start to produce. But we're also looking for investors. We are crowdfunding. We're applying for grants. We want to bring on corporate partners for placement. We see this event is sponsored by Safaricom. So if we win, we are hoping that you guys can make a seamless introduction. Yes, we need this fund to actually take the project from storyboarding, from the script to actually start working on it.
First question is, what is Afrofuturistic about this? I heard nothing that is future of Africa, besides you saying that you have a club in a plane, which we could just do that with a KBS, an old Nyayo bus, and throw a club in there. So I want to know what is the Afrofuturistic aspect of it. Secondly, Neema is a villain, right? Is she also the driver?
No, she's not the driver.
Okay.
Yeah. She's actually like a hacker who hacked into Mal's vehicle.
All right.
Yeah.
So ideally, I was hoping to hear more about your characters to understand what journeys they have, but you guys are very technical. And so I am worried that you're going to get all this money, have a beautifully shot thing, but terribly acted.
No, actually, let me maybe address your last concern. So this story is really about humans, regular people. Mal is a taxi driver that's caught in between deciding if he goes back to his daughter or if he goes to prison. Because if he chooses to report the body, he goes to prison. If he chooses to play along with the Neema, and then he goes home. But it's about, the story is about humans' everyday life, but it happens in a car.
Yes, and I understand that 100%. All I am saying is, as far as your presentation is concerned, I feel like it's a techie presentation.
Yeah.
You care so much about the technical, and I am not attached to your story. I don't know what it's about or what the characters are about.
Okay, let me touch about the characters then.
Sorry, I think we had given you your time for you to be able to tell all of that.
Yeah.
Not from the question side. Yeah. We'll just have one last comment and question from Kez, and then
I answer.
You will not answer all of them. You will just answer what she has to ask you.
Okay.
Because the first segment we gave you, you were supposed to package all that and tell us.
Yeah.
So take it away.
Okay, thank you so much. Because of time, I won't ask a question. It's just a comment. I am agreeing with what Nice is saying. I'm really concerned because I can get the tech aspect of it where you're talking about the lighting, the editing, the sound. You also know the specification. But I'm even trying to figure out who's the main character of the story, the protagonist, antagonist, the climax of the story. I have not had any of that. So, all the best.
Okay, let me answer her. I was given that time to answer her.
Hers was a comment. It was not even a question.
Okay, cool.
It was a comment.
All right.
However, you shouldn't have butterflies in your tummy. I think you need to congratulate yourselves. Pat yourselves on the back and say, we did good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for your time.
All right.
Yes. So, but just
thank
stay
you.
around.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
My name is Lorella Joey. I am the producer for the short film My Dad's Funeral.
And I am Mercy Kamau, the writer and director of My Dad's Funeral, a 10-minute short film.
So My Dad's Funeral is a dark comedy, and the logline for it is that through flashbacks, a distressed 20-year-old, Richard, relieves the ordeals he went through on his father's funeral day from relatives. And so at this point, during this anniversary, he and his siblings find closure in knowing that, no matter what really matters is the time they spent calling this amazing man their dad.
I believe most of us have lost a loved one at one point in our life. So did you feel that you were allowed to grieve when you lost your loved one? Were you given the emotional support you needed? Were your loved one honored at his death? For a guy, Richard, the answer to all this is no. When Richard loses his dad, he wants to just give the best final send-off for his dad. But this is made impossible by his hypocritical family. So this film is it's a contrast between the before and during the funeral. Before the funeral, the aunts take the kids and they warn them against screaming. They tell them, When you scream, you'll be telling the world we cannot take care of you. But the irony of it is that during the funeral, one of the aunt, Aunt Wangeshi, wails on top of her voice to a point she has to be carried away from the casket. And another irony we see in the film is before the funeral, the pastor wants to be paid before he does the funeral service. But during the funeral, he fakes tears and claims the deceased Mr. Karemi to be one of his best friends. So that's the irony we observed for the funeral. And after the funeral, when the siblings are all sitting, listening to the aunts, the last born son folds her hands and she's reprimanded and told, no, you are disobedient, we are not going to take that from you. And they leave the siblings, the relatives are in a hurry to go back to the city. And now this is a year later and the siblings are reminiscing on what happened. And this is when Richard realizes that no matter what happened, he will always have his sibling on his side. And the best thing is the 20 years he spent calling that amazing man dad, and nothing can take away that from him.
So pretty much it's laughable what sometimes we promise people during funerals, especially the children of the people who die. Mercy and I are kind of living that, and that's part of the drive for this story as well.
There is Uncle Mushina. Uncle Mushina is the one that claims he will be the guardian to the children. He even takes the money from the distribution, the money that is given during the burial. But he claims that the money will be used for emergency. But now when Richard is reminiscing about what happened, he's like, we never got an emergency. We never got to use the money. So Mr. Mushina is one of our antagonists, but the whole family is, it's playing a role in being an antagonist too.
I'm Ken Mosangi, a father of two, and also an upcoming filmmaker.
I'm Jacqueline Emali. I'm a producer and a mentor.
My uncle, several years ago, hacked to death his son. He's now 75 years old now, and he's currently serving a jail term, a life jail term. His son, my cousin, who is an age mate, also hacked his family, his wife and children to death just recently. This macabre incident just made me realize these incidents of violence in the domestic setting are becoming more deadlier and frequent and a common occurrence. So I decided to tell this fictitious story called Sins of the Father, based loosely on a true story, through film, with the hope that it will make people discuss the issues that trigger violence in the domestic setting and also start these conversations.
What is the take home after we've watched it? What message do we get? Do you want the audience to get?
The main theme in this movie is mental health. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for giving us this opportunity, because this is Mental Awareness Month, Mental Health Awareness Month. We want people to be more sensitive to the things that they see on the news, get to know what goes on in the background behind the news bulletins.
Why do you think you need to win this particular pitch to tell this particular story? How unique is it?
Right, that's a very good question, sir. The reason why we need to have this story told is because personally, of a personal reason and also of a general reason. Having lost people who are close to me to such mental health issues, especially during a depressing and hard time like during the COVID-19 pandemic, is something, and the anxiety and depression that has come with the curfews, isolation, business losses and changes. It's something that is affecting a lot of people mentally, and we really need to tell these stories so that people can really feel it's not us alone who are going through this, but a lot of people, and they be able to relate to it. So, on a personal level, having been an actor for over 10 years, I feel it's time I got into the production stage of my life, where I believe if I get an opportunity to do this film, I'll be able to give back, just like I've been mentored by Chap Central mentoring program. You guys giving me a chance to shoot this movie will mean you're also investing on a worthy cause to a generation of filmmakers that are coming, because I'll have a debt of mentoring them. Thank you so much.
Well, I just want to think on the flip side of it, because if you want to tell a lasting story, I tend to believe that you need to look at not just one aspect. How about if somebody 10 years from now wants to watch this film and has no idea what happened during COVID? Will that story be relatable to that particular person at that particular time?
We see the same cases happening because of land disputes, inheritance issues. So it's something that is within our family circuits. The triggers might be different, but it's stories that we can relate to in whatever kind of aspects.
The story is about violence, we get that. It's a compelling story, yes. However, I don't want to watch it, only because it feels like it's about this guy hacking away at the kids and then decides to save this one kid, and then this kid goes on to hack other people. You haven't taken me on a journey for your characters besides. His father hacked somebody, so he hacked someone else. The end. So I don't feel inspired, so to speak.
That's a good observation, but what I'd like to put across is this. James, the main character, happens to go through a series of challenges. By the way, when he saw his father do that, his intention was, he was good, well intended when he married his wife, and he had also vowed to never even beat his wife. But because of finding himself in a corner because of different life circumstances, the main character goes through a series of challenges.
That's where I am, sorry.
Yes.
As the main character goes through a series of challenges.
Yes.
The main character found themselves in a tricky situation.
Yes.
These situations and challenges, that's the information you need to give us for us to understand and feel your story.
But he can't like put together 60 minutes in
I'm
7.
not saying that.
Okay.
So it's fine.
I
I think we get the gist of your story.
You get the gist of your story.
I agree with that, but the trailer also requires to have sound.
Yes.
Proper sound, so that we understand the visuals. I
Yeah,
think
I
next
think
time they need to prepare properly.
Ebu, please
for
mwache
the
kuingilia
teaser.
story yangu. Can I finish my point? Thank you very
Yes.
much. My point was just that you guys, I know you cannot put all of that in the few minutes, but then as opposed to including that information when a question is asked, it would have been good if it were part and parcel of the initial pitch.
Right. I think I get you, because there was a technical hitch when the...
It's fine. I think we understand. It's just for you to take home. It's more of a take home, because there'll be probably other pitches that you need to go to. But that's it. So thank you very much for your presentation. Let me give you time to take a deep breath and cool it off, and then we'll get back to you.
Thank you so much.
Mau Mau, the burning spear. What we've just seen is what we just called a teaser. I was prepared that for what you can watch. Our story begins in a courtroom where it's angry white men saying, hang the bastard, hang the bugger, and the prosecutor and the judge threaten him, asking him, who are the insurrection, the rebels, and how do they recruit their members? And he keeps on saying, Dikwaria Maudo Mau. He's asked, which ones? Mau. And there's a reporter there from the East African, from the Evening Standard, and he jots down the words Mau Mau. And that's where the name Mau Mau started from. And from there we move on back 7 years to Burma, where we see our protagonist Washira come into his own. He becomes a leader on the battlefield. It's like chess. He can see the moves the enemy is making, and he's actually able to win battles. And he's able to capture a major who's a Japanese. But even with his victories, he can never be
promoted because Africans are never promoted. After he comes from the war, he gets married, keeps his head down, wants to raise a family and be with his young ones and his wife. And then his wife gets raped by a white soldier. He confronts the soldier and everything just goes south. The other soldiers gang up, beat him up. He's almost dead. He's taken back to his house. After a few days, he hears rumors that his boss is going to bring soldiers to get him. So he runs into the forest. He joins up with other fighters. And he becomes a general slowly. It's based on other generals who are there, like General Kayo Itina, Knife in Ass. Excuse the French. And these are actual figures, and we've tried to make it as authentic as possible by mirroring it to what happened then. He gets to be a feared adversary. The day he runs is the day his employer and his family are massacred. It is a replica of the Larry massacre, but it's not the Larry massacre. And that day, he's not involved in this, but when he realizes what happens, he decides the only way to be safe is to be away from everything else. And we see him going all the way to the end where he gets hanged. Okay, the budget is, the total cost comes to roughly 25 million. That's a lot. But it's not a lot if I see the glass half full. The idea is that the 500,000 will shoot the entire opening scene in the court and shoot the theatrical trailers. At the same time, it is going to now go into the market so we can get the funders. And we've been identifying the people who we can work with. There's the Machakos County government, also the Laikipia County government. We also have identified cultural centers who are saying they're interested, like the Japanese Cultural Center. So it would be a step in the right direction. If we were to say it is too much, it isn't. Because first of all, we are shooting a scene of another country in Kenya. We've already locked down the locations and identified them. If we can replicate the Burma scene here, and we are recreating a whole new timeline. I know Karanja, you know what entails. It's a lot. But for the others, I can say the cast is kind of varied, because we have a lot of blacks and whites, but all actors are Kenyan. We are not looking for anything outside there. Right now, we're even thinking of how we are going to get Japanese actors, because we need that for this.
I guess, hi guys, thank you. I know, why don't we, like in the way we were presenting, dependent on what you were pitching for, at least so that you can also observe the protocol rules for Ministry of Health, so that we are not all crowded within the same place. So like Jennifer, and you can like be a bit on this side, and then like ahead, Ivo, so that at least we have some space. Thank you. In terms of, if you are all good, and I'd like to call upon My Dad's Funeral. Step forward, please. And The Quest. Step forward. You had beautiful pitches. You told your stories the best way you could. You poured out your heart, you poured out your soul. Though for the first time I'm seeing one person who was not part of the pitch, but that's a story for a later date. And without further ado, I'd ask My Dad's Funeral to take one step further. In front, one step further. The Quest, it was nice. It's been our pleasure. Thank you very much. My Dad's Funeral, you can join your colleagues.
All right, I'd like to call upon Jennifer Gatero, Joroge Foi, and the Gary team. Joroge and Team Gary. So this is a team. In this team, this is where we found a story that we all found quite familiar, and I think that's why Karaja was going over and over again about how much people read. And so there were a lot of questions about a particular story because we didn't know, is it an adaptation? Is it an original? Is it inspired? Or, you know, what's happening? But without further ado, I would like to ask the Gary team. I'd like to thank you for being here, but you did not make it this time. Better luck next time. Asanteni sana. Wapigieni makofi. Jennifer and Joroge, you can step back.
I would like to call My Dad's Funeral. And Sins of the Father. Well, one of the things that I have to look for as a producer is, are you making this story because you are hungry, or you are making it because you are thinking beyond the hunger and you'd like actually to have a return on the investment? Is it a story which is going to move people? Is it a story which can be developed father or mother, depending on who you like most? So I'm looking at all those concepts. Believability in budget is also a factor. So with those few remarks, can we have My Dad's Funeral step forward? And Sins of a Father, thank you very much for the pitch. And we are wishing you all the best. You should not lose hope in your story. Please continue developing it because it has a place in the bigger picture of things. Thank you. You may step back.
Yeah, we have 3 groups of contestants. This is the moment. This is the time you've all been waiting for. We have all been waiting for this particular category. I know it's not been an easy journey for you, and we believe as well. As you see us, four of us here, we were more, others were caught up in other schedules, but we had to actually bring this thing to an end because we don't want to keep these stories waiting. I would ask all of you to take a step forward. All of you. At this juncture, I'd like at least each and every one of us, Nice shakes her head. I know Kez shakes her head. John, do you have anything to say before we unveil the winner?
Okay, these stories we see here are very interesting. They are good. They are stories which can go places. I relate with all of them. The Mau Mau story on a personal level. The other story, My Dad's Funeral, on a personal level. The story about the children, oh, I love children. So these are stories which really have something about them which is really going. And I am wishing you all the best. Whoever is going to be the winner, please move to the next level with a lot of grace. If you are not the winner, please, this story has to be told by hook or crook. Thank you.
By virtue of having gotten to this point, you are all winners in our eyes. So regardless of whoever goes home, just go home knowing that you are a winner. And for the 2021 Kalasha International Pitching Competition for Film, the film category, the winner is My Dad's Funeral.
Oh, look at them.
Base is a video streaming platform primarily designed for mobile. And with Base, we basically want to offer content to Kenyans. We are saying Base, we want to position Base as a home of best local content. And on Base, we want consumers to come and find content that entertains them, that informs them, that motivates them, then of course inspires them. And a session like this, Base Creators Garage, is actually content that's available on Base where people can go and watch and be uplifted and learn from other content creators that have gone ahead and succeeded and actually get something from it.
Quite a number of content creators had put together projects, and Netflix actually came knocking. But when we did 40 Sticks, we actually intended it to go into movie theaters. But when Corona came in, then we had limited choices in terms of platforms that we could place the movie. So luckily, Netflix came knocking. They actually came into Kenya, asked to meet with a number of content producers, and we were lucky to be called into the meeting. So everyone was able to present, and we were lucky to be one of the ones to be picked for our content.
We had just quit from our jobs, even myself. So we took what we had accumulated over the years, like our pension, the kidogo that it was, and then we that is what we put in. And then we borrowed. We borrowed from family, and then even the location itself we got from Eve's sister where they were living. They gave us the place, and I owed even my mother-in-law. That was how bad, how bad it was. But we had a vision, and we knew this is what we wanted to do, and we were going to get there somehow.
It's very important early on in your career to understand ownership is the end goal, and you're in this for the buyout.
I love it.
I'm making this Sauti Sol music right now because it will be valuable for me in the future. And so I have to really make sure that my split sheets are in order and all the rights holders in my music are in order. In fact, if you look at Midnight Train, your average song has even 3 to 4 writers. And it's deliberate so that we get the best. But also, it's important that your stakeholders, your writers, and everybody knows what they own, where, how.
The means to a great story is a believable write-up that transcends borders and sets to ensure the audience get glued and the crew are motivated enough to engage.
The movie is on. Yani tukundani.
Kila shot lazima iwe perfect because every angle matters.
Nikundani boss. Great shots are coming right up.
Every ounce of energy digging in to give a wider scope of the job at hand.
I love it. I'm in it. See, this is our time. Tukundani. Tukundani.
Toned up faces that display courage in the midst of lights and an always wanting theatre with art that reveals the identity. A time most awaited, showing off the acclaimed character in a role played to perfection.
No. I am more in than you.
No, I am.
No, I am.
No, I am. Oh, you're making me so mad.
I guess. Tukundani. I am all that you associate me with in the film industry. I am Kenya Film Commission, tasked with ensuring your filmmaking process is a smooth sail. And I can only do it if all you filmmakers are registered with me. Since it is a requirement by law to be registered and certified by the Kenya Film Commission. Pamoja, tutajenga hii industry and beyond. What's your excuse? Ya kutokuwa ndani? Je, Uko ndani?
Register today at www.kenyafilmcommission.com.
For nearly 5 decades now, Daystar has been stirring passions, supporting and shaping career aspirations as it develops transformational servant leaders for Africa and beyond.
In the whole of Africa, Daystar is the only university that has championed the thought of developing technical communication practitioners. I was made at Daystar. You too can join the pace setters.
Book your intake now and be the next. Call us or visit www.daystar.ac.ke for more information.
The Kenya Film Commission presents the Kalasha International Film and TV Market Virtual Edition. Learn and expand your skills during the workshops and conferences with renowned local and international filmmakers and practitioners. Witness filmmakers battle it out for funding in the virtual pitching competition. Catch everything live on the 5th to the 7th of May from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Sponsored by Safaricom.
Shushu, wamesema hakuna harusi.
Kwa nini? Hapana, haiwezekani. Tunaanza harusi, lazima itaendelea.
Piga Brian record tustreamiwe do.
Nasema Safaricom iko na 500 MB free kila siku. Sasa tunaweza kustream hiwe do.
Hi Shushu.
Get 500 MB free kila siku and never miss a moment.